It's like people ask me, why do the coin? I had that conversation last night with somebody. It's like, why did you do it? It's like, because what I found is a group of men and women whose passion was high, whose desires are great, and they're striving to do better at all times. And so, and when I say that to somebody, it's funny because I had someone the other day, she basically said, I'm full of it on some aspects. She's like, when you ask someone how they're doing, you just walking past them. I said, you don't mean that. It's like, no, actually, I do. It's like, no, you don't. It's like, I do. If otherwise, I'll just say, hey, how's it going? I just, hey. And it's funny if someone says back, well, I'm not doing it. Well, I hope you have a better day. But smile, you look great. You try and say something positive to somebody else, and it completely changes. It's like
Immediately.
you go through the drive-through. My first thing I say is, they say, go in and get you order number 65 or whatever it is, and you're like, hey, how are you doing today? All of a sudden, it's like, click. It changes. Like, I'm doing great. How are you? What can I do for you? And then you after you make your order, you come around and the face that you see is far more pleasant, far more up, and you say thank you very much, appreciate it, have an awesome day, and it changes. And so just being courteous and kind to someone just naturally, so that's kind of the way I roll.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun that way.
And you know what? It's not a difficult thing to do.
It's not. People are scared of it. So it's always nice to find someone you can converse with all the time, or a good group of people. That's why it's like people ask me, why do the coin? I had that conversation last night with somebody. It's like, why did you do it? It's like, because what I found is a group of men and women whose passion was high, whose desires are great, and they're striving to do better at all times. And it's a group that tries to share with each other. Nobody's perfect. No one, and that's the problem with some people. They take offense too soon, too hard, and too much.
Mm.
And so I've seen that in every organization.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea that you have to kind of have to step back a little bit once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
and not be so offended, but be able to express maybe some disappointment, maybe some, hey, maybe I took it wrong. Am I okay? Are you okay? And get over it, and realize that everyone's trying hard, and no one's perfect at it, and everyone's gonna make mistakes, and so you can't sit there and get all feisty and bent out of shape. It's like I've had some run-ins with people. My old boss, he still owes me $134,000. What am I gonna do about it? Am I gonna get all bent out of shape and keep hating the man, or do I just kind of keep going? And my theme has been my life since then is like, my success will be my revenge. That's what my revenge is. And so his staff comes and listens to me speak. So I'm on the board of directors. He's not. That's what I do. And I see him and I say hello to him. But that's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you have some passion in what you do, you try to overcome certain things and be able to be open to other people and try to help people all the time. I had Dan Elfring last night talk to me. He just came up to me and just dead serious. My face is like, dude, you're a great man. Like, I don't know that I feel that way, but man, I sure do appreciate the compliment. So, I don't know. You just can't do what you can and be there for people when they actually need it. And normally they're there when you need it. So, if you give, it's usually given back. Yeah, giving is receiving. And so, I tell two stories. One is hilarious. I was going into a QT, convenience store, right? So I'm going in, and I open the door. This lady right behind me, she's like, I don't need you to open the door. And me being usually pretty quick, I'm like, oh, it's not for you, it's for him. Big, tall, black guy, like 6'7". I'm like, hey, it's for you. And he's like, hey, thank you, sir. And we walk in the door, and I go to one side, he goes to the other side. We kind of cross paths. He's like, "How you doing today?" "I'm doing great today. How you doing?" "Great." "Hey man, I really pushed you up that door." It's like, "You bet." And we walked out, and then as we both left at the same time, and the woman was right behind us, and he grabs the door, opens it, and goes, "It's my turn." And he like tugged his shirt and goes, "You have a nice day." And we both walked out and like snickered, laughed, and goes, "Man, it's nice to meet you. You have an awesome day." And it was like you sat and watched someone giving to somebody else, and he gave right back and appreciated it. And then you all of a sudden, you both walk off that location, having no intentions of doing anything, and you walk off going, "Yeah, that was kind of fun. I met a good person," or "I got treated nice today." Everybody deserves to be served. And so I felt real bad for that woman, but I think she learned a good lesson. And it's like I didn't open it because you're a woman and you're weak. I opened it up because you deserve to be served. And it was a hoot. It was absolutely hysterical. And see that guy, he was cracking up. We were both laughing. We're laughing throughout the whole store. There's something greater than us. There's obviously. And if you think it's so simple, and it is, it's an eternal concept. And I think if you experience obviously with having two children, and that's what I kept telling my employee. I was like, "So, how'd you feel what godliness was all about when that child arrived?" That's an eternal concept. And he's all kind of teared up. He's like, "Dude," I was like, "Different, huh? Changes you." And he said, "I was that instant love, like boom. That thing pops out, and it's like, oh, I'm in love. God, thanks." I think I see a little sprightling of what godliness is. Just a little inkling of what that might be. My wife looks up and goes, "Are you crying again?" I'm like, "Shut up." That's me. So, but yeah, I mean, my gosh, there's nothing better than being a dad. Nothing. And it's an amazing is that each sex is built differently. We're in a society right now that's so confused, and they're just trying to find something. And like you say, women are nurturers. We're built so differently in so many ways, but yet each of us has the same capabilities, the same emotions, just at different levels, and it's meant to balance each other out and to create. And it's amazing when people construe that.
Oh, absolutely.
That, well, women could do it too. I'm like, sure they can. And so can men. We can both do it. Both can survive on their own. They have to. Not that they're meant to at all, but they can.
Right, exactly. They're meant
And it's like, it's not trying to fight one another. It's complementing one another. And then you see people go, "Well, it's 50-50. It's like, maybe one day of 31 years of my marriage. Like, it's never 50-50.
No.
I mean, can't use the word never. It's almost never 50-50. It's some days it's 99-1. You could be having a rough day, and it's gonna be all your wife supporting you, and vice versa, or it's 60-20, or 60-40, or 70-30, or whatever the concoction of the numbers may be. You have to realize that it's all for one, and if you can't fight for that, then it's gonna be a tough go. And so, like, having been married just shy of 31 years.
Beautiful.
It's just you have to give, and that's what it comes down to. If you're not willing to love and give, it goes to the financials too. It's like people say, "Well, she pays this and I pay this, and I pay." It's like, dude, if your money's not one, you guys are on the first step to divorce.
Ooh.
And they're like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "Yeah, you are. Your first step to divorce, man. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but if your money isn't yours, as in ours, I don't know if you're gonna separate. She pays the rent. I bought the furniture, but she didn't balance out with the food, and I do it. It's like, you're in trouble. You're in trouble down the road. Well, the two topics of fights in a marriage, the two biggest things is finances. When you have a fight, because not necessarily who's spending, who's not spending, or it could be we don't have it, we're struggling. I'm unemployed, she's unemployed, whatever. So financials are always the number one argument or fight within a marriage. It is. And then family, extended family, usually is number 2. So, I mean, when we got married, our last 3 paychecks of $4.50 an hour went right in her bank account. Why? Because we were going to be in the 2 months later, we were going to be together. And the idea is we're not going to separate. So the idea is my money's your money's my money, it's our money. We're going to be working together. We're going to be renting the apartment. We're going to be renting a car, leasing a car, buying a car. Whatever we're going to do, it's ours. So my idea has always been and everyone's asked, well, you have that money, would you do a prenup? I'm like, I wouldn't marry that person. Because if I love that individual, I want to have everything I have. And so, yeah, I just think I've seen it a lot of times, and I would say a chunk of them, a very good chunk of them, when they separate money, they're done. And they eventually down the road, they have been done.
Because they've never been united, truly.
Truly, no. Now, to allocate finances, they say, hey, Samantha, what do you want to go? You want to go to the store? You want to do this? You want to go spend? How much do you want to go do it? And you guys look at the and say, hey, I think you can go spend $300-400 to do that. Go get you some clothes, or take the girlfriends out, go to dinner, or go to see a show, whatever it may be.
But it's a joint
But it's your decision. It's not like I say my wife can't go do something. I was like, and I always gonna say, hey, I want to do this. Like, we got money for that. Go for it. And vice versa. And his people's like, well, you have to allocate each month. I'm like, you shouldn't have to allocate each month. If you want to, go for it. But allocate your guys' money to each other. Not, hey, she gets to keep this amount of her money, and I get to keep this amount of my money. It's like, what do you guys want to give to each other to spend for each other? Or to go spend time with best friends, or maybe there's a girls' trip you want to do. Whatever it may be. It all depends. So, yeah, I think separation of finances is a rough go. And I think that the first step, I think it's the first step to divorce. And it's just, they don't really unify. You don't really get in a position to where you're giving or you're loving. It's like you're giving, but it's like with contractual details like, well, but if you don't, then I really don't want to. I was like, it's yours. It's both of yours.
Interesting, huh? There was a man that once said the following. He said, if you truly love her, her signing it wouldn't matter.
Oh,
And
exactly.
if you truly love him, signing it wouldn't matter.
No, exactly.
So it's not a matter of signing it or not signing. It's a matter of where our hearts are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really where the problem is.
Correctly, completely. Your souls have, like you said earlier, your souls haven't joined up. And if your souls are joined up, your heart's joined up, what do you want? Her to be happy, period. Or your kids to be happy, period. And you do anything and give anything to make sure that happens. It's like the young man asked me the other day for my daughter's hand in marriage, you know? And he's like, yeah, he sat there for an hour and a half in my office, and I kept, we started talking about missions, because he served a mission in Alaska, and I served in Portugal and all this stuff, and it's hilarious because he's like, finally after an hour and a half, I give a lot of pauses in between, kind of give him an opportunity to jump in. Hour and a half later, he goes, so you ready for the meat and potatoes? I said, it's not me. My question, are you ready to ask me the question? And he just looked at me like, I'm just waiting for you. Whenever you're ready. And and he said, yeah, I'd like to marry your daughter. And he pulled the ring out, put it on my desk, and I looked at him and said, I'll die for my daughter, you know that? He said, I'll kill for her too. And he just like looked at me, whoa. I was like, I accept you. And I said, I really appreciate the fact that you've actually, come to me and asked me. It's a good man to do that. But what I informed him of is when your kids are born, your wife, the ties you have with them. Yeah, I jumped from a car. And that's the thing. And you start separating from the beginning, and it just makes it harder. So that's kind of the way I've always gone with that. I kind of do that in business the same way. And like when I spoke yesterday, I talked about business relationships, and business relationships, people say, oh, it's just business. And you know what? People do that way. However, my heartstrings don't work that way. So it is harder. It is much harder to try and have friendships in business. It is more difficult. It takes more effort. But I will live my life out trying to prove that to be correct. That you can't do it that way.
It's connected to our.
It's business. It has relationships. It's not just this business dealing. And
It's not just transactional.
it's not. It's not. It's a great word. It's not transactional. Sometimes it can be, and financial, financial exchanges can be just transactional, but the emotions when you deal with people are not transactional, and so that's a great word. But it's an emotional concept, and so when I have clients, I enjoy my clients. I feel disappointed if something doesn't go right for my clients, and they'll disappoint. I was like, you have no idea how disappointed I am on this side. And so the idea to go break bread, go to dinner, do things, play golf with them. I got a doctor right now. He's like, do you need to come into town? I was like, can I come into town and visit you? He goes, yeah, you need to come in. I'm like, cool. I was like, but you better bring your golf clubs, man. I got to take you golfing. But it's an exchange between two. And I've always felt that if you give more in your relationship, in your business transaction, that it's easier to come back and forth in working together. Sometimes it can be harder because if something goes wrong, the tug's harder or the hurt's harder. Maybe you didn't sufficiently put all your heart into fabricating this crown for me, but you don't know. So it's harder, but I think it's still this is my philosophy. I just still think that business can be friendship at the same time. And I'll go to my grave trying to prove that right. I remember when I was on my church mission, I was in an area called Vieta, and I was sitting there and I met a man. He came up to me one night, and I'd been there for like a month, and he's like, "Hey," pulled me aside, Elder Whipple, and he's like, "I need to talk to you." I was like, "What?" He goes, "I've got a family that I think only you can talk to." Why? He says, "I just see you and you would fit. And let me take you to meet him." So your profits or your relationships can maximize just because who you are. And I think one onset I've always tried to look at. I just got in trouble in a conversation with someone I just talked to yesterday over the internet with her because I said I treat everyone like a child of God. And she says, "Well, I don't like that God thing." I say, "Well, that's okay, but I'll treat everybody like they need to be treated." How's that sound? Is that better? Or treat someone the way you want to be treated. And so, but I look at it as our discussions is everyone's a child of God and deserve to be that way. So that's kind of how in my inner self, that's how I treat people and that's how I see people. And people don't recognize that's how I look at everybody, but that is how I do. So it doesn't make me a better person. It just makes me trying harder. So yeah, not better, just trying harder and doing what I can. So, but yeah, I think, and that's why I've tried to do with business, with friendships, with community, with church relations, with whatever relations. There's nothing constant about human being. We are constant. We're consistently inconsistent. That's what we are. We're all such emotional roller coasters, and it's not for negativity or whatever. It's just life. It's how it hits you. It's how it comes at you. It's we're sitting at an AV yesterday, was having a rough time. I was supposed to speak, and the AV guy is stressed out because it's not working, and they're like 15, 20 minutes behind. And you can see he's starting to sweat. And he's like, I'm really sorry. He's like, "Hey, it's okay." He's like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, it's okay." He's like, "Oh man, I've been yelled at before." I said, "I bet you probably have." I said, "Dude, what's yelling at you going to do? Is it going to make that guy who's running right now down the hallway trying to get a new HDMI cord? Is it going to make you run faster? Is it going to make the situation better? No. You just make the situation worse. You're gonna have a terrible experience having met someone that you tried to serve and tried to help, and unintentionally had a problem. Or you can say you ran into someone and say, "Man, they were gracious enough to be okay with it and thank me afterwards for making the effort and making the work." I said, "That's all that mattered." I said, "Don't stress. You're doing great. Appreciate all your help." And he was great. He walked up, and actually when I left, he came and set it for the next guy. And he came up and shook my hand and said, "Hey, it's nice to meet you. Thanks for being patient." I'm like, "Hey, thanks for working hard." So the situation could have been completely contrary, a terrible experience of both people, someone being angry, or you met someone new, young man, good looking young man, who's working his butt off trying to do something right, and he came out with a good experience. Hey, I solved the problem. It took longer, and they're grateful for what I did, and they weren't mad at me. And both walked away with a great instant moment of connectivity with somebody, and no one's hurt, and everyone had a good moment, even in a difficult situation. I started my own business in 2003.
So yeah, so I was close to it.
Yeah.
I was about to say 15 years from what I remember.
So yeah,
You're out.
I'm out 20 years now.
20
Now
years.
I've been doing business. I ran another lab. I ran it for 5.5 years in Vegas. And then
25 years.
so
Let's just say
25,
25
yeah,
years of
yeah.
strong relationship.
Strong, yeah.
That-
So, and that's I learned at that relationship, the business was a relationship really early. When I ran the laboratory in Vegas, we were connected to LVI, which is a CE institution, so continuing education along the lines of neuromuscular dentistry. And so we would go in and do courses, and they would bring live patients in. They would prep. We would fabricate. We would seat. All if we were doing posterior courses, we would actually seat either the next day or 2 days later. So the patient would fly in, we'd do everything, and they'd leave with new teeth. Then the dentist would learn new techniques, materials, new laboratory. We could actually get accounts that way. Um, and others would be anterior cases, and they would come in, they would work, they would prep the cases and press. We would work on it. They would come back 2, maybe 3 weeks later, and then they would place everything. So you understand that you have to build a relationship with that doctor. If you want an account with them, service to them is paramount. And if they can't work with you, or you can't work with them, why would they want to choose you? They're not going to do it. So you had fun. So you had to gauge who you're working with, and gauge whether they were an optimal account that you maybe want or not want, or you would like to work with. And you could determine the patients. So I love doing it. If I could read a patient well enough, there was nothing more fun than messing with them. So one thing that I used to do, we do a big old full arch, and I could get a good communication with the patient. We had fun with them, talked to them, had fun, and it was just a good experience, good connectivity. And I remember, so I did it several times actually, but I remember one lady specifically. I remade an extra tooth, number 9. I made it fully just orange, brown crack lines, white hypocalcification. I mean, just nasty, gnarly tooth. They fit exactly like the good one. And so we put them all in, and I had gone up to the doctor and said, "Can I have some fun?" He said, "Oh, go for it. She'll love us." So we put them all in, and the one orange went in. And everyone's like, "Oh, that's beautiful." And of course, it's not seated fully. It's not permanent yet.
Right.
It's just a try-in. And they show her the mirror. She's like, "What do you think? We think it's beautiful." So they, "What do you think?" "Oh, we love it. We love it." She gets it. She goes, "Ah, I knew you would do something like that." And I'm like, "It's fun, huh? Love it." And they hold on. You pulled out of the box, so hear the dog, and he's like, slaps the new one in. But if you can build that relationship with them, that all of a sudden the doctor goes, "Hey, would you like to send us? Can you send us my friend? We'd love to work with you." And I had my boss I worked with didn't want to do that. And so we had clients that were in town up there, They want us to come up and have lunch with them, and he's like, I don't want to do that. I just want to go to do my lunch. Like, dude, you got to build relationships of trust with people. BRT, baby. Build your relationship of trust. And he's just like, now you. So I went up there, and when I left the business, guess who they called? It wasn't him. So, and he called me. He was from Louisiana, and all of a sudden I got this phone call because I left. I had a non-compete. I just walked out of the office. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't solicit a single person. I followed my obligations. And if they called me, I can take them. I went through 3 lawyers to verify that's okay. And I remember sitting there one day at his phone call. Is this Quint? I'm like, yeah, this is Quint. It was Quint Whipple from like LVE, LVI. I'm like, yeah. It was, hey, Dr. Jerry, we found him. We found him. You can hear him scream down the hall. And he's like, tell him to send us some damn information. He was an old codger, like 70 years old. Oh my gosh, he was crazy. Old coot. He was an old codger. Codger fits him perfectly. One of the nicest, God-loving man, just southern old codger guy, and it was a hoot, and it was a great relationship that I had built with him, and it was so cool. And so, but it was a relationship I built over time in Las Vegas that he refused. He didn't want to build, and I was like, "That's your loss." And now I work with his son still.
Wow.
So I worked with his son in probably 2000. So 23 years later, I'm still working with his son.
Wow.
And he's the one that said the other day, when you come down, bring some clubs, man.
Oh, wow.
Bring some clubs.
Relationships.
So, and then I didn't, his dad passed away. And I called him, actually, it was his 75th birthday. So I called him to give him a hard time on his 75th birthday. He's like, happy birthday, old man. He's like, yeah, how you doing today? He's, well, I just got back to the doctor today. I got stage 4 pancreatic cancer. I'm like, in any situation, and most people have lots of words. What do you say to somebody other than, love you, man? What can I do for you? I mean, I don't know if there is anything to say to that other than I'm here. So, based on an incident I had earlier with that office at the same time, I had gotten a bra in the mail from their office. Somehow on the UPS box, in the UPS truck, the sticker came off, and this guy put it on this box. So a bra came to me, not the teeth and stuff. So I called their office. I was like, whose bra is this? And because of my relationship with them, they were like, well, what size is it? I was like, it's A cup. Well, it ain't mine. I'm a lot bigger. It must be Susie's. She's small. And I rolled with it. Well, though it's funny because Jerry called me later on, the doctor, that night, and he's like, dude, you've had my office of stitches. It's been boobs and bras all day long. And everyone is just laughing. Thank you. It's been a blast. So when I knew he was passing away, I sent him some gifts. One, a sign that said "Families are forever," because he's a very religious man, loves his family, and he was a fisherman. So again, those fishing ones you could the electronic games,
Yeah, absolutely.
and it tugs on it,
Yeah.
So I got him that and a bunch of stuff, and I ordered from Amazon cup size like this on a bra. So this bra, you can hold it there and I can hold it here. That's how big it was.
Wow.
So I bought this bra from Amazon and I wrapped all his gifts in his big bra and I sent it to him. I get this phone call from him and he doesn't even say hello. He just starts laughing. He goes, my wife was dying when I brought this thing home and my office was in stitches. So it was kind of cool. And I knew he was still working. And so I went down and I had a couple cases. And I said, I'm going to drop him off. And I called his wife. I called his office. I called his son. And I said, do you mind if I drop by and just come say hello to Jerry, spend the day? And he's like, but I don't want him to know. And he's like, oh, yeah, do it. So it was hilarious. I walked in the office and he's in a small town called Ruston, Louisiana. It's the home state of Louisiana State, and home of Karl Malone, Utah Jazz guy. And so it was great because the map of Ruston has Johnson's dental lab, dentist office on it. It's in a character map in the hotel. I'm like, if you've been there that long, it's a problem. It's really kind of cool. So, anyways, I went to the office that day, and I walked to the office, and I was like, "Hey, Quint, how you doing?" All their southern drawls, and it was great. I walked in, and I walked past, and I'm like, "Hey, Jerry, how you doing?" He said, "Hey, Quint, how are you?" He's drilling. It's good to see. All the drill stopped. He was like, "Quint?" And I put my head like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" Thought I'd come spend the day with you, man. Talk to you a little bit, hang out, watch your work, do some stuff, go to lunch. He couldn't go to lunch. His wife came and picked him up and took him home for lunch to get him some medications and stuff because, he was going to make it. So, and it was cool. But I sat there and I went to his office after the end of the day. So I went out with the office, all went out to lunch, took me to lunch to some soul food. Oh, good. Love soul food. I love any food, though. I'm bad at that. But it was emotional as can be. But it was a relationship that I had built with him since I met him in 2000. And he actually sat me down as I was leaving because I was flying home that night. And he just said, I probably won't see you again. I said, probably not. And I said, I won't be able to make it to the funeral. But he said, you don't know what it means if you got to come by and hang with me. I said, well, I just want to know that when I see you on the next side, I love you. Loved working with you. And we'll see you again. And it was but that was my relationship. And that was my business strategy, is that I want to have that relationship because it means more for me to, if I'm making your teeth, I'm going to put as much love in that thing as possible. Why? It's as a guy's man. I don't make him some stellar teeth. His wife's going to be jealous. Going, oh, don't smile at that woman. He's mine. I want to give everything I can to the person that I like. And so that's why I think that business relationship, and that's how I try to do it that way. But I know it's a long story, but it's a lot of stages in between it with Dr. Jerry. And I have his photo still on my wall, and that's a relationship that I built, and I cherished it, and he loved it too. And it was cool. And that's, and the transition to whoever comes along the line. That's kind of how I've run the business side of things. And so if something didn't go right, I was devastated that Dr. Jerry wasn't happy. But in the end, he knew that. It's not just, as you said, a transaction. It's meaningful to me that you're happy, which means it's meaningful to you that you're happy, that your patient's happy. They spent money for that. So whether it's $200, $500, whatever the amount of money that someone pays for that month, it's their transaction to get something back what they want. So you have to think on the other line as you're making this, that someone's looking at it going, I've spent all I can spend, whether it's, well, I think they should pay more for what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. They're paying all they can they want to look beautiful. They have to look in the mirror every day. So your idea is no matter who's on the other end, they need to know that they're getting the best product they can get. So your emotion has to go into that it's beautiful. You see people like lecture yesterday. You see the passion. Some people that lecture normally are people that have a lot of passion. It's like watching Paulo Batista yesterday talk. And he's Brazilian, so it was kind of cool to go out and talk to him in Portuguese. But you can see in his slides, in his presentation, the passion he has for what he does. And then you see the smiling face of the recipient, the patient, of the transaction from going, to, look, I'm so happy.
Change of psychology.
What amazing.
Change of person.
What amazing transaction. And you got to be a part of that. So if you look at it that way and not just simply, okay, I need to make sure I charge them X amount. Sure you do, because you value that. But there needs to be something more involved in it so that someone, they get more of a benefit out of it. If you think of it that way, then it just seems more,
there's meaning.
So much more reward to it. Far more meaning. Very much more rewarding in your process, what you do. So, It can be emotional disaster sometimes. Working it that way, you can say, "Oh, it's just business," or you can go, "Ah, dang it, didn't want that to happen. I'm sorry about that." That's a harder phone call to make.
Mm.
It's a lot harder to do it that way. But if you just say, it's business works that way. That's it. It's all right. No big deal. It happens. But put that bumper sticker. So, anyways,
You're at a very interesting stage of your life, as you shared a moment ago, where this young man is transitioning your daughter
mm-hmm.
from one situation to another very soon. When is it? A couple of days?
2 weeks.
Now? 2 weeks from now. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be now 13 days.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks from yesterday.
Just a few hours from now.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Ooh, hours. You put down the hours. Woo! That made it closer. Woo! Yeah, big time. Oh my gosh, it does totally. It is hours. I was talking to my wife. They're having a bridal shower today, and I hear him voice my wife last night going,
yeah. So when you are looking at your business, and you are looking at the state of your business, what you've been able to accomplish, the relationships you've been able to develop. We were talking about this prior. Everything that we do as men, we do it for our family. To change the fortunes of our family in a way to something that is favorable for them,
mm-hmm.
beneficial for them in many, many aspects. Not just financially, again, of course, but when your children are growing up now, and they're now going into a new situation, transitioning from your daughter now to a wife, right? And so the dynamic certainly changes. How do you process that? Let's just start off as just as a man. How do you process that as far as the purposes of everything that you do? Do you keep on going as hard as you've been going? Do you start allocating your energies to other things? Do you start thinking about, am I going? I'm going to start, playing out my exit strategy for my business now, or what are some of the mindsets that go into these pivotal times of transition and your futures in your business,
Right.
your relationships, all these kind of things?
There's a question. Yeah, it's interesting because funny you asked that. I was packing my bags last night, and it was kind of weird. I sat there, I put my stuff in there. I was like, I hope my daughter appreciates this as she's getting married. What I've done for her. So I don't I think it becomes different, and then as your kids grow older, as I've watched my mom, she goes, "Yeah, you're still my little boy." I'm like, "Yeah, I am. Not very little anymore, but I understand the concept that I'm a dad until I die, and so that action never changes, and I relish that one. So that doesn't change. Um, Bringing another young man into my life, and hopefully I can help out. And I've told him that we will stay out of your life and trying to tell you how to do things, but I won't promise you that I won't give you suggestions because it's going to be hard not to sometimes. I promise you I'll bite my tongue very hard and ask if I can offer advice. But we will stay out trying to not rule your marriage. It is your decisions that you'll be making, but we'll be glad, and we're standing here at any point you ever need to talk, advice, information, anything. So that's going to be a new transition. On the business side of things, I want to have like a 10-year plan. We're trying to set that up right now. Being 53 next month, in April actually, so we're not next month yet. Yeah, I kind of like to be retired around 63, or just be lecturing and doing just the small things I want to do. I don't really want to run the business that much, other than get cases that I want to work because I want to work with a certain doctor, I want to work with a certain patient, I want to travel to go do it. I wouldn't mind having a location where I can do 3 months of the year, and I'd like to buy a house in Portugal, and be able to go and do stuff for 3 months and still work when I want to work. do a case a week. You can do that in a day and spend 6 days doing something else. Spend time with your wife. I want to be the old. In the end, I still want to be. In Brad Paisley's video, I want to be the two old couple, the old couple, the old man or woman sitting on the bench holding hands. That's what I was in for. See, I told last night, it was funny, I was on the phone talking with my wife, I was walking back from the Hyatt last night, it's like, because she's like, yeah, you gotta jump on the opportunity. I said, no, I just want to jump you. She's like, oh my gosh, honey. I was like, honey, I don't want anybody else but you. You're it. I don't care if you've gained weight and I've gained weight, we're old and ugly and fat and gray. You're the only one I ever want to be with. You're it, period. So that goal changes a little bit and hopefully having grandchildren down the road. Like I told her, hold back, just get your marriage first. Didn't have kids a couple of years. But I look forward to that transition. That's exciting on the business, and so that's kind of cool. But business-wise, I'd like to slow down a bit. I'm getting, I've put a lot of hours, a lot of years into what I've done. I love speaking, absolutely, thoroughly love it. And it was a ton of fun yesterday. And it's funny, I had people text me last night, heard your thing was great yesterday. I'm like, who told you? You're not even here. You're in Colorado at home. Oh, I heard you were fabulous. I'm like, thank you. I didn't know I did that well, but thank you. That's cool. So it's nice to make something benefit somebody else, make somebody else happy. But yeah, the office now we remodeled, and I want to do more teaching in the office, and so I've set it up. We're not quite finished yet, but I've got like 3 TVs in there. Oh, football games. Like, no, sure, I guess. But I want to get it. I'm gonna have it where it gets transmitted onto the TVs. And we can do stuff there. We can do stuff online, and teach. We'll have a video thing. Everyone can watch and see it on the screens, and they'll have a behind us on the screen behind us too. And so we have people come in. We have people learn there. Small, intimate setting. So that's stuff that I find more satisfying. So, but I love the travel part of things. I love seeing something new. I love visiting with people. I am a people person. There's part of, as technicians, we're introverts. You have to be. We're all OCD and we're all AAD, ADHD. You tell that something like, no, we're not. I'm like, think about it a minute. You're an introvert. If you can sit there and work like this for hours, you're a bloody introvert, and you're severely OCD. Because my buddy he goes, how do you sit there for 4 hours and look at the small little things? Like, because I'm OCD, because he can't do it. And it's what we are. We're so into what we do, and if you're really into it, I mean, you're into it, and you're focusing. So your ADHD, that stuff focuses you. And so we are that way. But there's a side, the people that, I also have an extrovert side in me too, that I can bring out and enjoy being around everybody, being around you, I love it. I mean, to see your face on Thursday.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, give me a hug, man. So that stuff's cool. That stuff I never want to change. That's the relationships that I enjoy. When I was coming to Miami, first person I called, that I want to come, hey, can I come see you? Can I meet you someplace? I'll meet you at 7-Eleven. I don't care. I just want to, So that's the stuff that I've tried to build, and the stuff I just want to always keep. And so that stuff won't change at all. But the slow down on certain things, definitely. And try to do things, give back more. That I love. That's why I like DTG. Because in this industry for decades, it's always been, I'm doing something over here. The grind over here, and, they put the shoulder up. They turn their back to you. You can't see what I'm doing. I don't like that. And that's what DTG does. You don't see that. I mean, you literally, if I put on the Dental Technicians Guild website, it's just us on there. I go, hey, I got a question on this, and this. What do you guys think? Within hours, there was like 50 people from all walks of life, all over the world, from Christchurch, New Zealand, to Taipei, to Kosovo, to Sweden, to Alaska, to whatever. And it's like, hey, this is what I've done. Blah, 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 blah. Or DM me. I've got some suggestions for you. You didn't find that early on. And it's like freely given. You know, I like called Phil Reddington one day. He said, I just texted him and said, hey, I got a question on how do you run your business? How you're hiring somebody, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, dude, do you have what slot time you have tomorrow? I was like, whenever. So we just got on and did a webinar together. And just got on and just sat and talked to each other on Zoom. And like, who would freely do that? And so that's the part that I love about DTG. That's the part I love about the people I connect with, is that it's freely given, freely wanted to be given, and given back. And so that's why I love it. You know, and it's like you give that coin to somebody, and it's like their eyes light, and it's like someone made something for me because they appreciate me for who I am, and you hand it. And it's cool, and it's cool as could be. As I always say, cool beans.
What's the birth of, what's the story behind the coin?
The coin? It's really interesting because I did an article with it, and there is a letter. I think I may have sent that letter to you. If not, remind me and I'll send it to you. When I found the group, I found it online. I was at a board meeting for the ACD, and a buddy of mine says, hey, dude, have you seen this DTG stuff? I'm like, no, what is it? So we got online, we're popping it up. I was like, phew. I'm looking at stuff from Vaughn's stuff was on there. Who was it that was on there? Oh, there's a guy out of Brazil, Pablo Caetano. He's out of Uberlandia, Brazil. And I was like, oh, dude, I suck. You know, I mean, you're critiquing yourself. You're like, wow, this is incredible stuff. And I started flipping through things, and it was an open forum with damaged goods. And so it's damaged goods affiliates. So anyone can actually participate in that. So anyone, all techs from all the world, dentists included, can participate showing photos, you know, and they'll post something, and you have the opportunity to reply to it. And people ask for advice. So I was like, wow, this is bloody cool. And so I went to the first meeting. I don't know if I attended the first one, but my first meeting was 14. And so, and they started in 13, but I'm not sure they had a meeting the first go round. So it was up in Provo because Vaughn's from Utah area. And so, and I'm from Provo. I lived there for 13 years, so I knew the area quite well. And so I'm just going back home, see my old house, seeing friends, so it's kind of cool. But I sat there, and I sat actually right next to Muriel and Arian. And I met Muriel before I met Arian. And Muriel was just the sweetest lady. I was like, I could chill with her. Then I met Arian, her husband. And I started meeting people. I met Vadim, and then I met Ricardo Schaefer from Argentina. Mm-hmm. And I just got to know people. And I was like, man, it's just, you read the passion off of people. And that passion was what I had inside. I was like, I need a group of like-mindedness to hang out with, to share my passion with, and to give me fire. At the same time, maybe I can give fire back. And so I just sat there, and I sat there, and I called my wife, like, I love this. This is me. I feel home. This is what I want to do. It brings such joy, you know, and thrill in me. And like, I'm looking at stuff on you know, people are posting this stuff, and Al was up there. He was giving us a thing up there one year on a brand new product that was coming out by GC. I'm like, you know, you can't say about it. Shh. So they're like, easy. Yeah. Oh, I didn't say it. So, you know, it's like, oh, it's a new product. So within the group, we share stuff, which is really cool. New stuff's coming out, but no one says anything. It's all quiet until it comes out, and then we will discuss it outside of it. And so each person, is KOLs for a certain company, and they try out new things. But I just saw that passion, and then all of a sudden there was some turmoil going on. In 16, um, I was voted in, and so what happens is it goes out to the guys, and they'll post names out, and who they think should come in, and I was voted in, and God, it was an incredible night in Utah, and Dane was there, I think. And it's funny because it went out all the new members that night, and I got text messages through Instagram. Instagram was pretty slow at that time. I think it was just Facebook at the time. And it's like, welcome to the club, man. Como está? Tudo bem? Bem-vindos, meu menino. People from Brazil, from Portugal, speaking to me in Portuguese. Oh, it's so glad to have you out here. And there's people I've not met yet. And so, in person, that is. And so I found that passion. And of course, there's a part of me, like we've discussed, is I believe in moral values. I highly believe in those. And so I put a moral compass on the back of that coin. So the idea was military gives a challenge coin. And so it's used at drinking games. It's a challenge. So if you're sitting at the bar, you slap your coins down, and whoever has the highest rank, or the lowest rank really actually pays for all the tab. Mine's cheap. It's a Coke. So since I don't drink, so I'm the cheapest date anyone's got. But if they charge more for the lemon, it might help. But so I love the aspect because it meant camaraderie. It meant something. It's a cohesiveness of a band of brothers. And so I love that meaning. That started in the Korean War. And so you talk to military, and they all have their coins, and they'll have a plaque or it's kind of a plaque, but it's got slots, things stack all the coins they have, given by who they've met, who they've exchanged coins with, and it's usually you hand it the coin in a grasp, and you have it in your palm, and you hand it off. And so I was like, man, that'd be kind of cool. And so I did that, and that's what I felt passionate about. So I created it, and I sent some off to Vaughn, and he called me and goes, dude, this is so cool. And so that's what I did. And that's what it came off. So I put the moral compass on the back, and sharing knowledge, dental DDT convention symposium, and I think 16 or 15 is I think 17 I did it because I was inducted in 16, so I did it in 17. And then, anyways, there was a feud going on right after that. No one knew I had done it at all. It was just completely silent. I don't think Vaughn knew. Actually, I don't think Vaughn knew yet, even. So there was a whole thing going on with a couple people, which was sad to watch. And I posted this photo of this coin that I just received. Because I sent it out, had it designed, had it milled, sent it back to me. And I just had a stack of, I think I ordered 250. And I've written a letter to it. So it's a full-page letter, what I wrote on that. And all of a sudden I posted it on our Facebook page with the coin, both sides, and the letter, and I just send. Would not believe the response, because the next day the site was going to go down over issues, and issues were going on. And then we put it back up afterwards. And so I put that on there. I said, well, this means I think it's a good time to show you this, and I popped that on the screen. And the response was amazing. And so it's been really cool. I remember when we all got together next symposium, I brought the whole batch. So I called Vaughn. I said, when he called and talked, he was, this dude, I'm wordless. I don't know what to say. And so I said, how you want to do it? And I said, I'll just give it to you. You just hand them out as people come in at registration. He goes, no. You hand them out. Make it something. Because it's something, and it's from you. It's heartfelt, and we know it. And it was cool. So I got on the podium, and I kind of struggled a little bit, actually. It was kind of funny. But I didn't know how to describe it. I was just like, I made something for you. I want to give it to you. I love you. And that's just what it was. And I remember walking up to Melanie. You've met Melanie. If you've not met Mel, you need to meet Mel. She's a heartfelt Cajun, living in South Carolina now. God, love that woman. She's just sweet as can be. And I remember handing her the card and the coin, and she looked at me, and just started crying, and gave me this big old hug. And goes, "I love you, Quint." We're in a group that you sit there, and I don't know her from Adam. I mean, I've never met her before, really, until there. It's like I texted Dane this morning. Love you, man. How you doing? But it's a group of just camaraderie, of just expression of appreciation and love and acceptance, and that's kind of why I did it, to show that to everybody. And so I made sequential ones after that for certain meetings. Like they did one in Frankfurt.
You sent me that one.
And yeah, and that was cool. And the shipping on that was miserable. God. Shipping international is not a joy. Let me put it that way.
No, I'm
It's
very familiar.
it's
with
just
the
horrible. I did one for IDS, and it came out the same issue, and it never showed up. And it actually, when I got to Cologne, it got there, but it was in Cologne, at the shipping center, through customs, and it sat there the whole time we were there. I couldn't go get it; they wouldn't allow me to go pick it up. So 2 weeks later, after IDS, it got shipped to Stuttgart to Ohio. I paid for that too. Then I paid Ohio to ship it to Oliver at White Peaks, and then I paid him to send me 25 of them, and then he could distribute with all his clientele. I was like,
Wow.
nightmare. But it's cool. It's been fun. And that's the reason why. It was just something to give somebody else and show my appreciation. And so they'll all see I'm doing one for the symposium, for the 10-year one. So I've asked permission from Patrick Feudal from Sweden. He did a design for the T-shirt. I asked him if I can use some stuff that he put on there to add that thing. He's like, I'd be honored. And so I've done that. I've incorporated for certain people. Well, the one coin with the white around it, it's the DGG logo in the middle, and it's white. All that, I actually submitted a question to everybody one day on our little forum. It's like, what do you guys think of when you say DTG? What do you think of? And they're like, family, community, love, passion. And so on that coin, there's 8 different references in 8 different languages. And it was who replied to me. And nobody knew about it. And all of a sudden we all met and go, here. And they're like, dude, that's me. I was like, mm-hmm. That's what this means. It's all of us. And that's what it means. And so I don't know if I told you, but when I went to England last year, I went and met with Ben Eddy on there, and I met him in Glastonbury in a pub that's built in 1482, and we ordered 3 Diet Cokes. My son was with me, and we just had 3 Diet Cokes and spent 3 hours together in the pub, hanging and chilling, talking about dentistry and family, and it was phenomenal. And I drove up a little bit further on up to Liverpool and had Peter Harling, who I just adore to death, and he brought his family down. Our families all had dinner together, and just shared times and talked about family, meeting his wife. He meet my wife, meeting his kids, our kids, and then I was able to sit there and go into York on the way back, and I'm sitting there and I'm getting bags out of my car, and I've never been to York. I've never been to England, and so all of a sudden I hear this honking. I look over and it's Sylvia and feel ready to out the car windows. Hey, Quint, welcome. And we had dinner that night, spent some time together, and I met Phil's little daughter, adorable girl, and just that's what it means. You can go anywhere and be welcomed in. Ohio, he brought me into Stuttgart, and we sat and spent time with family and out to dinner and showed me his town, and it's phenomenal. How can you not love that relationship? So that's what that symbolizes, and just kind of brings everybody together. And it's fun. It's the passion people have taken into it.
The family.
And we just had 3 new people inducted in, and it's funny because I left two bags of coins for those new inductees that came today, and I sat and talked to one of them last night, and Vaughn and Jeff told me yesterday. I was like, dude, you wouldn't believe her eyes as you open that package.
Who was it?
Her name was Lola.
Oh, okay.
Lola Welch out of England.
Oh, Oh, nice.
And so she came into town, and she's like, oh, it's like Christmas. This is so cool. And she was debating whether to come into town, and then she was notified that we wanted her to be part of our membership. And she's like, I had to come. And then I contact her in the middle of the night because it's middle of the night my time is 8 hours ahead of their time. And she got this note that here I got these things for you to be at the DTG booth or GC wherever it happens. I'll have it there for you. And he's just like, you wouldn't believe her eyeballs. So they just blew. It's like it was so cool. So it's fun at the same time. So like Paulo, I gave one him last night. Giving people like you that aren't DTG members.
Right.
I had Sasha from Harvest one day pull me aside. I was doing a lecture in the DLOAC in California, and he comes up and he goes, "Can I talk to you a minute?" I was like, "Sure." He says, "I want to talk to you." I was like, "Okay." So he pulled me aside. We sat and talked a little bit. He goes, "I just want to, I said, "Those coins, it's amazing." I was like, "Well, thanks. That's cool." He goes, "I just want you to know we're all watching it." I'm like, "Good or bad?" He goes, "Oh, it's good." I was like, "What do you mean?" He says, you've brought like a drive to people, and they're not involved in DTG, but they're seeing coins all over the internet from all over the world, and you're handing them out to people, even if they're not, to just symbolize. At that time, I think I had my original one, and he was just like, "It's amazing. You've brought so much life and." You brought some ferocity, some vision for people, and they're just like, "Oh, cool! Look what's going on." And he says it's really making a very good impact in our industry. And I'm like, I had no idea. Truly, honestly, I had no idea. And he's like, "It's rocking cool what you're doing," and I just want to let you know people are noticing it, and we love it. And so, and I just gave him a hug there. He's a nice guy. I love Sasha. He's a great guy from Harvest. A great company too, by the way. Use them. So they're awesome, but. It was really kind of cool because the next meeting I saw him, I walked up to him, gave him a hug, and he gave his hand out, like slapped his hand. And he looked at me and goes, like, I gave him his. And he was like, "Oh, it's mine." Like, "Yeah, it's yours." So it's just cool. So it's and I see him all the time. I buy a product from his company too, but I buy a product from him because he's a really good man. He's a great family man too. So he posts his family all the time, how he loves his family, and what he learned from his dad. He's immigrated here too. It's just awesome. And so I love to support people like that too at the same time. And so when I see him, he'll scream at me, but he can't. He'll wave to me. It builds a relationship. And so that's kind of done a lot of different things, more things than I ever expected it. Far more things than I ever expected it. It's like we said in the beginning, give and give back. You get back, and I've gotten back far greater than I ever suspected. So it's been a cool deal.
It's interesting. A term that you used was Band of Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Love that movie. Love that series.
The series, yes. And I was going to say that because I watched this series, and it was an amazing series. But one of the things that I enjoy, I love film.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah,
And
likewise.
my mother really got me into film. She we used to watch certain films, certain classics, certain things, and she used to say, "Oh, look, notice this, notice that," and I just started, just to watch a film from a different perspective.
Right.
One of the things that we really enjoyed doing was also watching the behind the scenes and any commentaries and all that kind of stuff.
Very
And
informative.
yes, absolutely. And then you could feel the spirit of the work.
Right.
Whether it's a documentary, whether it's a film, whether it's a series. And recently, I was watching responses from some of the infantrymen from the 101st Airborne. With the stories and Easy Company and all that, and they were saying, the term Band of Brothers really encompasses a lot. It encompasses struggle, it encompasses pain, but it also encompasses victory, it encompasses resilience, it encompasses family, it encompasses so many things. And so when I'm hearing you say all these things, and you said Band of Brothers, it just It's just a very wonderful way of putting it, because when you're out there, you mentioned that, and I like the fact that the way you put it. You know, if you're in this industry and you're doing what we're doing, you're an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you got OCD and ADHD and all this, and sometimes, or most of the time, it is hard for people to understand your passion for what you do,
Right.
and you know why a dental technician is so invested
Right.
in that one project they're currently working on right now, or those many projects
Right.
they're working on at the same
Yeah.
time, you know. But there's a family that gets it.
Yeah.
There's a family that I know how it feels.
Yeah.
And then it's impossible
Yeah.
not to cry when they see somebody that gives you something that represents
What you both feel.
what you both feel, what
Right.
you both live on a daily basis, the
Right.
conversations that go on in your mind that nobody else can understand, but just by you standing with somebody and smiling and giving something to them,
Right.
it just clicks that, you know, we're souls that are living in this this abstract universe, but we connect.
Oh, we do. Yeah, it's fun seeing posts. You know, I got my coin. Thank you, brother. You know, or I'll get a shot every once in a while. Hey, check these out. And they're all in frames, each one individual in a frame on a wall, and it's like, it's heartfelt. I got back what I gave, far more. You know, and so, yeah, I loved it because I watched Band of Brothers. I love that. You know, I took my daughters to Foy, to Bastogne, and I took them into the forest of Bastogne, and so I took them to the War Museum in Bastogne, which is dedicated to the U.S. military. And if you haven't been there, highly suggest. It's phenomenal. But I had my daughters watch the series before we left, and as tough as it was, because there's a lot of language, a lot of stuff I really don't want my daughters seeing. And so I curbed some things. I talked to them beforehand, as a parent I think should. But I said, I really want you to see something, because we're going to go here and I want you to see this. I want you to understand what your great-grandfathers fought for. Because both my grandfathers were in Bastogne. They were both in the Battle of the Bulge. So they were both over in World War II. In fact, my mom's dad actually had to surrender there, so to not have all his men killed, and he was a POW and escaped, and dressed as a nun, to escape into Poland. Yeah, it was crazy, but I wanted him to feel that, and I'll tell you two of the things that were real heartfelt for me with my daughters, because I had made that coin, and there was all that in the back of my head in the movie, and I think it brings a lot to light what this country's done and whatnot, and how much I love my country and all that stuff. Very patriotic guy. But I wanted them to feel that. And I remember sitting there going through the War Museum, and for 4.5 hours, my daughter's a 13-year-old and an 18-year-old put headphones on and ran through that thing, didn't complain, didn't want to leave, but were calling me, Dad, come over, you gotta see this. You gotta see this. And it was so cool to see my kids actually invest into history and understand that what their great-grandparents did for them and did for us. And I loved that. And then we went over, I said, look, time's short. We have to get, our time frame was we're trying to get to Amsterdam that night. And it was already 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I'm like, oh, I have to drive because my wife's not going to drive. So I'm thinking, you know, it's kind of a brutal concept. I said, we're here. I would like to. Do you guys want to see? I would like to go to the site where they're looking over Foy. The Band of Brothers was there and happened. Would you guys want to find that? And I know that there's a plaque and a monument there too. And my girl's like, yeah. So it's really cool to go. And I had my kids, I took photos. We found the monument. So I got photos of my kids in the monument. And I got my kids sitting in the same foxholes that have been maintained over all these years. And you're down looking into Foy. And, you know, and I've seen the Band of Brothers probably 50 times. And I've listened to it probably another 50 just sitting in the office working. I don't have to look at it. I just put it on the screen and I work and I can listen to it. And my daughters are like, Dad, take a photo. We're here where the 101st was. And then you're like, check us out. I'm like, oh, proud Papa. because there's so much to it. And to understand the history of your family, understand the history of patriotism, understand the community. And through the War Museum, it's really kind of cool because you walk in and you have headphones on, you follow four people. You follow an American soldier, a German soldier, a young man who's like 13, and a 21-year-old female school teacher. And you follow them on their visions and view of what transacted through that entire area through the World War II. And it's kind of crazy because in one scene, as you're going about 2 hours into it, you realize that all four of these people that you're following are actual people, and they all end up in a bunker for 5 days together under the streets of Bastogne. And so it's an emotional impact on you, on humanity, on life, love, country, just human nature, and how they interact, how they dealt with things. And it just, I say a lot of times travel is a blessing. And so that was impactful for me, for my kids to understand that. And so it was emotional for me and really neat to have my kids really enjoy that moment, and see, wow, my great grandma was here. And I don't know exactly where they all were. I don't have that information, So, but I knew they were there. So it's really cool. Very impactful. You see, and you see relationships with, I've got great friends that are Germans. I mean, that's so cool. There's no hatred between each other. And that's the greatness of the beauty of humanity, the beauty of God, the beauty of that things can be mended together. So that's a cool part of family. I love it. So all that really encompasses into that coin. There's so much in my head and mentally what went into those. So so that's a cool thing. It's kind of fun.
Which is why I believe it's been received the way it has.
Yeah, I think so too. It's been really cool.
It's not just some merch.
Yeah, and it's not for sale. I've had people ask me how much I buy for it. It's like nothing. Just tell me how much. Tell me your address. I'm like, what? I said I gotta pay for something. And so it's kind of cool because when I saw Ben, I showed up with some coins for him, and he's like, dude, I didn't have these ones, and I handed him these new ones. I gave him a couple extras. So you find somebody that you feel worthy. It's up to you. Delegate and hand out to somebody. And I had this bag, and I'm like, and we sit in the pub, and he pulls out his bag with a cricket ball, and he goes, here, this is my cricket team. And then he hands me his hat, which I wore on the way here. It's his Somerset cricket team. And then he handed me, he's a rugby fan, and they have a local rugby team. I have a rugby tie he gave me, and a cricket shirt, and a rugby polo. And he gave me all these gifts. I'm like, dude, I just gave you a coin. He goes, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. And so it was so much fun. And like you said, you go all over the world now, and everyone says you get catfished on Facebook and all that. I'm like, they're not your real friends. I'm like, tell me that's not my real friend. I'm sitting there walking in Cologne in IDS in 2019. I hear this, oh, Quint! I hear this, boom, 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 boom. Behind me, I'm like, and all of a sudden I felt someone just jumped on top of me. And it's Fur out of Spain. It's a little short Spanish guy. And as one of the nicest guys. I've never met him before. Talked to him many times. Sent him his coin to the small island, and I got to meet him. And then David Cabeza is his son, and he goes, "I got to introduce you to my son. He's got to meet you." And I'm like, "Cool." I met him. He spoke very little English, and it was kind of funny because David Cabeza was here teaching for Mio, and I was hoping he'd come to the thing last night. But anyways, he's sitting there teaching, and he's got a full audience. And I come up right behind him, and just my chin on his shoulder, like, "Hey, David, how's it going?" He turns around and goes, "Oh, Quint!" And he just stopped everything, put everything down, just gave me a big old bear hug. He's got his blue beard right now. It looks incredible. And we just had a moment of time. And that brought that together. So it's a cool thing, and it's just a brotherly thing, and you watch them all post. It's everyone's seeing each other, and everyone's just proud to be together. And it's like when you come and see you there, same thing. It's when you meet someone you really enjoy, it's like you can't wait till everyone gets together again. How's it gonna go? Oh, it's gonna go great.
Every time.
Every time, because you want it to be, and everyone makes the effort. It turns out to be.